Ever since I defeated Yaron, I've been a bit conflicted on how I wanted to proceed. I could either continue playing as I have been, picking up items from the remaining bosses, or I could attempt to keep my item count as low as possible for this playthrough, which would mean skipping most of the remaining undefeated bosses. After being uncertain about this for literally months, I decided I wasn't going to go for the minimum items route. This is mostly because I've already chosen a good number of unnecessary items, so any high score I set for this challenge could easily be beaten regardless of how few items I pick in this video. Additionally, this also gives me a reason to fight the remaining bosses. I'll theory craft a true low items run at the end of the video, so stick around for that. With that being said, last time I didn't pick an item from Moonlord, and I think the best option is the Celestial Onion for that sweet 7th slot, although I guess it's technically just my 6th slot since I haven't gotten the Demon Heart yet either, so that's the next item on the list. Golem seems like the perfect boss to get it from, and he should be pretty effortless with my post-Yaron weapon. Complete annihilation, as expected. And now I have 2 empty accessory slots. I think the community is a good pick for one of them. Normally the community isn't that great of an item, but it has the massive advantage of being available early in progression while still being decent for later bosses, so I don't need to waste a precious late game kill on it. Although I do still have to actually farm for it, so Leviathan is next. Well, that was easy. For the other remaining slot, I really want something that can massively boost my survivability, and I think the single best choice for that is the Sponge. Not getting one-shot by Exos and Escal is the main goal of my loadout, and I would say an additional 180 effective max HP gives me the best chance at being able to achieve that. My loadout sucks for the Devourer, but hopefully the Wrathwing can still carry me. It occurred to me that this is the final time I will ever fight pre-2.1 Devourer. Rest in piss. You won't be missed. With Dog down, the sponge is just one semi-annoying grind away. I don't need nearly as much of the post-dog materials as I normally do, since I only need the sponge and the quantum cooling cell. Well, that's convenient. I feel like this playthrough has been a lot more boss rushy than usual, so I want to take some time to do a build. It's not going to be anything too complicated, just a little something to symbolize the progress of this playthrough. While I build this monument, I would like to mention a bullet I unknowingly dodged last episode. For context, I hate the Cosmic Anvil. It's a post-dog crafting station, yet most of the good post-Yaron stuff is locked behind it, meaning if you want good stuff after Yaron, you need to kill Dog too. I didn't fight Dog last time because that would require an actually good post-Moonlord weapon, which would waste another kill, so most of the good post-Yaron stuff was off-limits to me last time. This is why I specifically chose the Wrathwing. However, if that stupid anvil didn't exist, I very likely would have picked the Seared Pan, mostly due to how well it performed against the Infernum Exomex. If you know, you know. Kinda goofy how the strangest things can save you sometimes. With the rudimentary build done, I'd say my final loadout is shaping up pretty nicely, with the glaring exception of my armor. I just don't have the kills available to get Blood Flare or anything later. This limits my options to pretty much just Tarragon armor, and this is exactly what I saved Providence and the Distortion trio for. The Profane Guardians come first though. Pretty effortless, as to be expected. I can't really think of an item I want from them right now, so I'll just save their kill for later like I did with Moonlord. I feel like the Wrathwing has kinda trivialized the whole playthrough ever since Yaron. So much, in fact, that I'm intentionally going to fight Night Providence to completely nullify the insane DPS that Wrathwing is giving me, along with pretty much forcing a no-hit due to her insanely high damage. If you didn't know, Night Providence has a mechanic called time damage reduction. This basically makes it so that no matter how high your DPS is against her, she still has a minimum kill time of a bit under 4 minutes. This makes her a real challenge, even with very strong weapons. A nice appetizer for what's to come. I now have access to Eula Bloom, so for my first armor piece, I'll be choosing the Tarragon chestplate to get rid of that 15% attack speed penalty from the Titan Heart chestplate. I still need 2 more kills for the full set though. Stormweaver can provide me with the second armor piece, and he shouldn't stand too much of a chance against the Wrathwing. Still mercilessly shredded by the Wrathwing. Oh well. I still need 1 more kill to complete the set, and Cygnus is by far the easiest of the Rune of Coast bosses, so I'll take my free armor piece from him now. Thank you very much. Pretty easy. At least now I have my full set of Tarragon armor. At this point, I would say that I am officially ready to tackle the final bosses. I do still have 7 previous bosses left to pick items from, but before that, I would like to try to fight Exos and Escal first, just to get a good gauge of where exactly my gear is at and what other items I need to finish the job. In every playthrough that I've ever done, I do Exos first, but I think Escal is more manageable here since she doesn't require you to move that fast, which is nice since I'm still rocking Bone Wings. there's one thing you should take away from this video, it should be just how powerful Warding and the Sponge really are. I am able to tank 2 shots from Escal, whereas Yaron was basically one-shotting me. Two attempts. Warding and the Sponge genuinely feel like cheating, good god. We're not done though, since Exos are just as much of a final boss as Escal, and they require much better movement than what I currently have. Escal unfortunately doesn't drop anything that really helps with mobility, or any good weapons for me, but I can still use her kill to get the Wings of Rebirth, which is all the mobility that I really need. One final quick upgrade I can get is the Angel Treads. I never chose an item from the Profane Guardians, so I still have a spare kill at my disposal. There are definitely better options I could take, but honestly I don't really care, and I don't think I need much else to finish the job. I do still need to make the arena though, so one of my traditional Exo Rail arenas coming right up. I want to try to shoot for Thanatos last, since he has by far the easiest special attack of the three, and he should be able to be outmaneuvered with just the Wings of Rebirth and the Bobbit Hook. Pro tip for the Mayhem phase, you can dodge pretty much everything by just flying straight left or right. This works with Seraph Tracers too. I went for the wings instead because of the better flight stats, and also because I really didn't want to have to grind for the rest of the Tracer line. Kinda got a bit overwhelmed there. Since the Mayhem phase is so easy, I'm taking the opportunity to spread the damage around to all the mechs to get them all as close to 40% as possible. I decided that Thanatos Last was a bit too overwhelming without the Asgardian Aegis, so I'm shooting for Twins Last instead.
Hello, Berserk Twins. We meet again.
10 attempts. They were a lot tougher than I was anticipating, but the Tarragon armor and defensive loadout went a long way to make this fight more manageable. This video only took about 4.5 hours of raw footage to make, by the way. Usually an episode of a playthrough is 10 to 30 hours just for recording the gameplay, so managing it in less than 5 is blazingly fast for me. I had a lot of fun in this playthrough. This managed to strike the perfect balance of originality and challenge that I strive to achieve in my videos, and I'm glad that you all seem to enjoy it too. Switching to voiceover was definitely a pretty risky decision, but I genuinely don't think I could have bared editing another playthrough with text only. A voice also gives the videos a bit more personality and makes them feel less samey from each other, even if admittedly I'm rather monotone. I don't think I'll permanently do a voiceover for every single video from now on, but for the ones that are a bit more narrative-driven or explainy, I think I'll definitely choose it over text. Before ending off, I want to do a bit of analysis on this run. Overall, I'd say I played pretty cautiously. Every single item I chose with a lot of thought, possibly even to a fault. In the end, 6 bosses ended up going unused, and I really could have used a couple of those to make things easier on myself, especially for Deus and Ravager. Despite my caution, I do still think a couple of my items weren't the best picks. I really didn't need the well-fed buff that much, nor did I really need this life crystal. It might also have been a better idea to go for hollowed armor for the additional dodge instead of going for Titan Heart armor just for stealth for Deus. Overall, I am pretty happy with my route, but since this is a very theory crafting heavy playthrough, my mind always tends to wonder what other routes I could have taken or other decisions I could have made. Speaking of theory crafting, I was also curious just how low you could push the total number of items in this challenge. After giving it a lot of thought, here's what I would say is the route that achieves the fewest number of kills overall, that's humanly possible, under my rule set, and also without too much cheese. This is also ignoring bosses that block progression, since you can just kill them to progress without choosing an item from them. First, kill an early boss with environmental damage. In my playthrough, I did it by killing King Slime with a falling star, but his health has been increased since then, so you'll either need to use lava to finish him off, or try to find some other boss to kill with falling stars, or maybe find some other goofy method to get the first kill. From the first boss, pick a weapon that can reasonably handle Skeletron, it doesn't really matter which one. Then, use that weapon to kill any other early boss to get a mobility accessory. Something like Sailfish Boots or Fledgling Wings will be good enough. Then, defeat Skeletron for the bandit, and choose a Slick Cane as your item. As of version 2.0.7, Slick Cane is insanely overpowered, with damage high enough to kill post-Moonlord bosses as quickly as some on-tier weapons. After Skeletron, kill Wall with a Slick Cane and choose some early hard mode wings. With your chosen wings and Slick Cane, kill Lunatic Cultist and Moonlord. Slick Cane makes it doable, but good luck managing to no-hit Moonlord for minutes on end with a true melee range weapon with just early hard mode wings as your only mobility. It will be very hard, but Moonlord is probably the hardest boss in this hypothetical route. After defeating him, choose the Super Radiant Slaughterer. Just like Slick Cane, it is insanely powerful, capable of handling every single post-Moonlord boss, including Exos and Escal. Now all we need is mobility for the final 2 bosses. I would say your best shot is to kill the Devourer with just the Slaughterer and early hard mode wings, and then getting Silva Wings from him. Normally, Silva Wings are great for Yaron, but if you're trying to use as few items as possible, then you're forced to use them for the final bosses too. This would make your final loadout just the Slaughterer and Silva Wings, nothing else, other than maybe some pre-boss boots. This would bring your total to 6 items for the whole game. It probably is possible, but man, that sounds miserable. While I feel like I definitely could have optimized this playthrough even more to use less items, best of luck if anyone actually tries to perfect this challenge. Alternatively, you could also loosen the rules a bit to allow life crystals without boss kills, or pick up a couple extra items like Brain of Confusion or Nebulous Core to not force a no-hit. Let me know in the comments if you have any other ideas that could be used to optimize this challenge. Regardless of whether you think the perfect run will ever be done, I hope you enjoyed my attempt at this challenge. It was the most unique playthrough I've ever done, and it was a lot of fun strategizing how to beat bosses with as little gear as possible. Thanks for sticking around, and thank you for the warm response to this shift towards more voice-oriented content from me. See ya in 2.1.